Welcome back to YuGiOh, the Eternal Duelist Soul. So I have a bit of a dilemma. As you can see, everything seems normal, more or less, except that I've taken on strings here 4 times. This is because originally, the match I had recorded, or the set of matches I had recorded with him, somehow the footage got corrupted in some way or another. So I wasn't able to use that. So basically, once I had discovered this, I had already been past this stage of the game. Like I was already trying to defeat all the duelists in this tier to unlock the next tier. So I've decided that I'm just gonna, at this point, take him on again. But I guess it's okay, because when I took on strings, actually, I lost twice, and I got demolished. I don't remember what deck I was using. Let's see if I can try and remember what it was. What was I using? I don't know, it wasn't really that great of a deck, but it wasn't really that complicated of a deck either. I lost here a bunch of cards. Alright, that sucks. Basically, the deck I have here is a sort of Joey themed deck. That's why I have all these cards. Trying to think of all the cards that Joey has and possibly would use, with a couple of staples in there as well, just to make the deck work. But hopefully we'll get past this guy this time. Strings is, if you don't remember, he's the guy that Yugi taked on. He's the guy that Yugi took on in Battle City. He was controlled by Merrick at the time. Merrick gave Strings the Egyptian god Slifer the Sky Dragon, and it was the first time we sort of saw an Egyptian god card. Prior to that, we had known that Kaiba had an Egyptian god, and he had used it once when he was testing out his new dual disc system, but we didn't really know too much about it. So that was one of the times that we, saw it head to head. Hitatsumi Giant, he had at one point in the game, or in the series. I don't really remember. I might be confusing him with Yugi, but whatever, it doesn't matter. Yeah. And if you don't know, Slifer's main effect is that its attack increases by 1,000 for each card that the opponent, or not the opponent, that the owner has in their hand. And the guy had this really elaborate scheme in which he would he had a monster that was basically undestroyable, and every time it was destroyed it would come back, and every time it was special summoned he would draw, I think, a card or two to increase the number of cards in his hand. But that ended up being a flaw, which ended up getting there happened to be a flaw in that strategy which Yugi exploited and managed to win the duel. But basically, they didn't give him Slifer the Sky Dragon in this game because, I don't know, I guess they didn't find him worthy, or they just didn't think that it would be good for you to have to take on Slifer the Sky Dragon. Or, I don't know what the deal was. But basically, spoiler alert, he doesn't have Slifer the Sky Dragon. Instead, he has what I believe is called Muka Muka, which is this really weird fly monster thing. And basically all it does, it has the same effect as Slifer in that its attack increases given the number of cards that you own in your hand. However, it's only by 300, so it's nowhere near as possible as Slifer the Sky Dragon. I think he might have a card that's called Enraged Muka Muka. I don't know if that's in this game. Probably not. But there's a card called Enraged Muka Muka, which is basically a level up from Muka Muka. And all it does is, instead of 300, it gets, I believe, 600. So, a bit of a step up. Anyways, Strings didn't really get to use that on me. So, I don't even know if he has the card. I'm assuming he has it. But, to be honest, I don't know for a fact that he has Muka Muka. But I'm pretty sure that's what his deck is. Just from different iterations of him that I've fought. I'm more or less convinced that that's his deck. That being said, I don't remember why exactly he was so difficult for me to to take on. I barely beat him the 2 times that I had there. And that's just because I was using my sort of cheap deck. I don't know how to describe it. It's basically just a Cyber Strain deck. Cyber Strain, what it does is you pay 5,000 of your life points, but it allows you to summon a fusion monster from your deck. So you can summon Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, you know, for the cost of 5,000 life points. And that's basically the deck that I was using just to catch up with, like, because you have to beat everybody in this tier, I think, 3 times to unlock the next tier. That's basically the deck that I was using. But I don't remember why I was saying that. There was a point to that. That wasn't the deck I was using against against strings. It was not. It was a completely different deck. But clearly it was not a good deck. I have way too many cards in my hand right now, and way too little things going on. Like, I should be, you know, at a much better position. Okay. If you didn't know, Call of the Haunted, if you return it to your hand, I think it doesn't work the same way as what do you call this thing? The other card, Premature Burial. Because Premature Burial, when you activate it, you can activate Giant Trunate, return Premature Burial to your hand, but the monster remains, and you can activate it again. I don't think that works with Call of the Haunted. Aside from the fact that the trap cards needs to be face down for 1 turn to be activated, but I think the monster would get destroyed. But it doesn't matter. You have Kawajaki here. This is an odd card. I believe Joey actually used this card twice. So, can't say I'm not being faithful. I need to play a bunch of face down cards. Only 1 actually. Just so I won't have to discard cards. If you didn't know, the limit of cards you can have in your hand at the end of a turn is 6. So as now you can see I have 7. So I need to play some cards, or at the end of the turn I would have to discard a card. Hey, we have this extremely useless card. He actually did use this card, actually. He used it against Mai. This is the first card he actually used in that duel. But the reason it's useless, and the reason I have it, not so much because he used it that one time, but you need it for the fusion to summon Flame Swordsman, which is more or less his, I guess, it's his favorite card, probably next to Blue Eyes, but his, I don't want to say trump card, because that's not the trump card, it's like iconic card, I don't know how to say it. Like, when you think Flame Swordsman, you think Joey Wheeler, or Jonochi Katsuya, or actually, it's the other way around, it's Katsuya Jonochi, I think, right? Yeah, Katsuya Jonochi. That being, or is it? I'm not sure. Because usually in Japanese, they call people by their last names. And they also, that's why everybody in series calls Kaiba and not, you know, Seto, which is his first name. But they also, when they say names, it's last name then first name. So, I don't know if I've ever heard him say Katsuya. So that must be his first name, yeah. His name first. So I said it right the first time. It's Jonochi Katsuya. Anyways, gonna go ahead and play some face down cards since I don't want to discard anything. His combination of Hane and Penguin Soldier and Butcharo the Butcher and me having Graceful Charity and all this stuff and not being able to summon a lot of monsters at once, it's giving me a lot of cards in my hand, but I don't know why I'm not being able to use them. It's probably because I probably didn't build the greatest deck. Not entirely my fault, but just because there's not a lot of, I guess, Joey-centric cards in this game. Like, I don't even have Rocket Warrior or Gear Freed or anything like that. But it's fine, because I have Time Wizard, which manages to win me the duel. Once your life points hit 0, it doesn't matter what you do at that point. You automatically lose. Even if you have a card that says, you know, I gained 7 million life points, you still lose. You just manage to have lost while still having life points. That's pretty much all that does. But, managed to take on strings here. I hate that every time I say something like, oh, this guy was really hard, when I actually, you know, show you guys, it kind of push over. So, as I explained last time, when I faced Strings the first time, the duel got sort of corrupted. So, or rather the footage. So, kind of sucked. But, it was only the first half of the duel that was completely messed up. So, I have here my second, or rather, my first duel against... This is the first time I'm playing Strings, but this is the second duel of that set. I had already lost to him previously, and I was trying to use a Meteor Black Dragon deck against him. I also have yeah, it's not only a Meteor Black Dragon. I also have what's its name? Black Skull Dragon, I believe it's what it's called. The fusion of Red Eyes and Summon Skull. I basically have a deck centered around that, which I'm trying to use against this guy, as well as a couple of other random dragon cards. So, gonna go ahead and try to use that against this guy. Meteor Black Dragon's a interesting card because it fuses with Red Eyes Black Dragon, and you don't really ever see. I mean, Meteor Black Dragon isn't really a card that you see anywhere. It's a 5-star monster with 1800 attack and I think 2000 defense. So it's not exactly usable by any way, shape, or form. So it's kind of odd that they decided to make a fusion with Red Eyes Black Dragon. So I don't know. But I figured I might as well just make a deck with it just because it seems pretty interesting. And I get to use Black Skull Dragon, which is a pretty awesome card in my opinion, just because the art looks pretty cool. And I always thought it was pretty awesome that they managed to fuse one of Yugi's cards and one of Joey's cards. But anyways, we have here again a bazillion cards in our hand, but it doesn't matter because it helps us use Polymerization to summon Meteor Black Dragon. Usually, I like summoning Black Skull Dragon just because he looks cooler, but Meteor Black Dragon actually has more attack, so it's a little bit more enjoyable to use. I was hoping I would get another Black Skull, or not Black Skull Dragon, another Red Eyes Black Dragon, but I did not. So, that's fine. Gonna go ahead and use Fusion Sage to get another Polymerization into my hand. I'm gonna try and use Painful Choice to see if I can get this guy to give me Red Eyes Black Dragon. But unfortunately, usually what they'll do is they'll give me the shittiest card, but it's kind of hard to distinguish what the shittiest card would be. So I don't know. It's kind of hard picking what to use. I don't really want to get rid of the Red Eyes. Red Eyes is a lot more essential to the deck than Meteor B Dragon, because Red Eyes works with 2 fusions. Meanwhile, Summon Skull and Meteor B Dragon only work for 1 card, or rather, I can only use them for 1 card. So, but it's fine because he managed to actually pick the card that we needed. So we're just gonna go ahead and use a lot of greed here to draw more cards just in case. Actually, no, he didn't get it. He gave us a Fusion Sage, I believe. Disregard what I said. I thought I saw the monster on the corner of my hand. I thought that was Red Eyes Black Dragon, but it is not. So we're just gonna go ahead and summon Red Eyes Black Dragon in case that maybe later on we draw a Summon Skull or a Meteor Black Dragon. We can use it and fuse it, get a really strong monster. But until then, just gonna go ahead and attack and do a good amount of damage then. Almost enough to win us the duel, I believe. Almost enough. Do 1500 plus 35, yeah. Pretty much leaves him off with just a chunk of his life points left, while we still have a good amount. Let's see, what do you guys think? You think Strings is gonna pull it off? I mean, he has like a bunch of cards in his hands. Of course he is, because all he needs is Roideki. And that's it, all my monsters are gone. And he just summoned Witch of the Black Forest, which is fine, doesn't really matter. Witch of the Black Forest herself obviously isn't going to win the duel for him. That'd be really silly. The only card I really have is Giant Soldier of Stone. I guess my best play would be to destroy Witch of the Black Forest. While he would get a card to his hand, leaving a monster on the field allows him to tribute Witch of the Black Forest, which would allow him to summon, for example, if he had a Summon Skull in his hand, he would have a Summon Skull, which would lead me to a lot of trouble. But just to cover my ass, I'll use Swords of Revealing Light. Let's see what he's going to do. I'm going to activate Monster of Morn and bring back my own Meteor Black Dragon. And Graceful Charity to get even more cards. This guy has no lack of draw power. So now we gotta take on our own Meteor Black Dragon. Unfortunately, we have a Meteor Black Dragon, or rather a Meteor Dragon, I think that's what it's called. Well, there's nothing we can really do about it. At the very least, we have YuGiOh, which allows us to attack with our Giant Soldier of Stone and do a massive amount of damage in order to actually win the duel this time around. So, as I've said before, even if you lose, even if you gain 1 billion life points, it does not matter once your life points hit 0. There's no coming back from 0, basically. So that wasn't too bad. We managed to managed to win the duel with our, I guess, Red Eyes Fusion deck is what it should more probably be called. I've been calling it a Meteor Black Dragon deck just because I use Meteor Black Dragon more heavily. So, I don't know. Now, let's go ahead and take on Strings one more time. Even though we've technically beat him twice, he actually had beaten us in the data, or rather, in the footage that got corrupted. So, let's go ahead and just settle that up right now. See what he's got. Standard open play. Let's see if we got anything good. We got Graceful Charity, which is bad. We already have a Summon Skull, and a Red Eyes Black Dragon, and a Meteor Dragon. So we can pretty much summon what we want. Just gonna go ahead and activate Graceful Charity, see if I can get anything else. No, just Stone and Blackland Fire Dragon. So, nah. While I could summon that, I don't really necessarily need a Penguin Soldier, but it's a useful card in case he summons, or rather activates Rejeki again and steals our monster. Penguin Soldier is one of the few cards that can actually save us from that. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring out Meteor Black Dragon, discarding our Meteor Dragon and our Red Eyes Black Dragon, summon it to the field. I'm gonna play Penguin Soldier in defense mode just in case he has some sort of bullshit up his sleeve. I don't really want to play defensively just because it's not really that serious of a duel. There you go, he has Mirror Force. I didn't really have much of another play that I could do but summon the card. I could have kept Black Fireland Dragon and attacked with him instead, drawn out the Mirror Forest, and then summoned the monster next turn. But I was playing really hyper offensively, and I didn't really think it was that big of an issue. But it's fine, because I had the Penguin Soldier to fall back on in case of such an emergency. And for whatever reason, it did not allow me to get 2 cards. So I guess when I blame the computer for being stupid, it's just some weird glitch in the game. We have absolutely nothing that we can summon. But at the very least, he has this guy on the field, Patrol of the Butcher, which lets us draw 2 cards. So it should help us out. But we're going to go ahead and take 3,000 points of damage right now. He actually lets us draw 2 cards, and we've got nothing. Nada. Just a bunch of Fusion Sage and a bunch of monsters that I cannot summon. I can use Fusion Sage to get Polymerization from my deck to my hand, which allows me to whittle down my deck a little bit more. However, I couldn't use the second Fusion Sage because I already used up all the Polymerizations in my deck. So, since he summoned Witch of the Black Forest, that's gonna be the match. So, I don't know how you wanna consider it, since in the footage that I lost that duel. But since I recovered, or rather since I redid the footage, I won the duel. So I don't know how you want to consider our ordeal with strings to count. But yeah, that was YuGiOh, the Eternal Dual Soul for tonight. See you soon. Here's a random fact. It appears that Absolute End and Spirit Barrier seem to be the same exact art, but reversed. The only difference is that in Spirit Barrier, Gigu is actually getting hit.